Hi and hello. I hope all is well with you wherever you are in the world today, and welcome. This is Dune Imperium, and I am Admiral Trench. This is going to be Game 3, doing a legendary difficulty. I have Count Ilban Richis, starting with 1 water and 1 intrigue card. And I'm going to be playing against Prince Fromber Vernius with 1 water and 1 intrigue card. I will not be able to have a sword master this game, and the Mentet space cost 5 Solari as opposed to mere 2. Also, by the 3rd round, Richis and Vernius will get their sword masters, giving them 3 agents each. Because I can't get a sword master, I'm stuck with an only 2. So one moment while I light up these agents. Okay, so it is time to begin the game. And I looked it up. Good news, they have a purple LED that I will be able to purchase, and in due time, all of the coins over here on the left will be lit up. I think that'll look really cool. I also have some cool these things I got. They were not perfect. They work for what I needed, but it just isn't quite right. So I got better ones coming in the mail that will be arriving soon. Okay, let's see. What else do I want to report on for this game? Promo cards. There was a promo set of cards that I have not yet obtained, and they're $50 to $70 depending on where you look for them. I'm going to buy them as soon as I can. I have the money for it, and I would like to buy them for this game. So that will be arriving hopefully soon. I have the money already set aside. Just have to make the purchase. Funny thing, I actually already bought those cards. I found them at a good deal, a little too good to be true kind of deal, $20 when everybody else was selling them between $50 and $70. But I was like, oh my god, this guy's selling them for $20, and of course they never came. So I'm working with eBay right now to resolve that issue. Hopefully there won't be a problem. Anyway, that's just how the cookie crumbles. What are you gonna do, right? Okay, so another thing, down the road I'd like to get new flags, acrylic flags, and new acrylic combat tokens, just to keep things looking nice. And as a bundle, it even comes with new acrylic little tokens to keep track of your victory points. So that will be really cool to get. And even though it doesn't necessarily match everything else, it would still just look neat, I guess, just to mix it up a bit. Why not? It's just for fun. Okay, so I want to get this ball rolling as fast as I can and get this game going. It turns out that the package I was waiting for to arrive today with the new microphone equipment didn't come. So, you got to give these things a couple days, and maybe I was being a little too ambitious, hoping that it would be arriving by today, and I'll just wait till tomorrow. I'm sure there will be time tomorrow to mess with that equipment. So, okay. Game 2, session 2. I'm sorry. This is game 3, session 1 on legendary mode. And if we just go back in time a little bit, the last game I played was on Dune Digital, and I'm going to do my best to label the games accordingly. So if I play digital, I will put that into a digital playlist. And if I play the physical game, as you see before you now, I will put that in another separate playlist for physical game stuff. And I lost in the Dune Digital game that I played, but I have won in all the physical versions of the game that I've played so far. Alrighty then, so let's get into this game, and I've already shuffled everything before the game started. I've already done everything, gotten ready, so let the game begin. Okay, so here's my starting hand. I've got a convincing argument, dagger, reconnaissance, and 2 experimentation cards. And okay, so coming out of the gates with a couple triangle spaces, kind of prompting me to go to collect some spice. Let me look at these Imperial Row cards. I really haven't examined them very closely, so let me just see what that is. We've got Scientific Breakthrough over in the Twi'lek row, and Face Dancer, which did work for me quite well in my last game. Somehow I redrew that card again. Face Dancer will allow me to move around these tracks much easier, so getting that could be good, whereas Scientific Breakthrough, if I trash the card, it would give me a free victory point, and those come few and far between in legendary modes, so that's enticing. I don't know how I will get that to work for me, except to say I did just draw 2 experimentations. If I use those, oh, and by the way, it's worth mentioning too, I'm not starting with any resources. No water, no Solari, no spice, absolutely nothing. Because according to the rules, it just says, any of my starting resources is 0. Extra starting resources. And when it says extra starting resources, maybe it's suggesting you automatically start with 1 water. Pardon, I live by a busy road, so you might hear some traffic sometimes. People like to ride their motorcycles. Anyway, so yeah, as I was thinking about it, maybe it means that I'm supposed to start with water and there's no other extra resources aside from that, but I've always played it with no water. I have to figure that out for myself. That's just how it's always been, and that's how it's always going to be. All right, let's get back to thinking about our strategy. So, Lisan al-Gaib, for 4, you get 1 spice when you buy it. That's important. The Firm Grip card is pretty sweet if I can get a lot of Solari this game. And that could be useful that is a good card actually to get. I need to get the alliance with the Emperor, so a Face Dancer, Firm Grip can help me achieve that quickly. And let's see, High Priority Travel lets you go to green spaces and triangle spaces. And Spice Smugglers, that one's never really been good for me. It's been okay for me in 1 game that I can remember where it worked out kind of nice, but in this, it's just not very appealing to me. And Shai Halud for 7 persuasion points. And when you buy it, you can excommunicate a card, trash a card, I should say. And when you use it, you trash a card to get 2 troops. So it's great for getting rid of cards and getting troops. Fremen Bond, it gives you 5 combat points. So it's a very powerful card, but it only allows you to go to triangle spaces in the desert. I think right now I'm going to put on the persuasion tracker that I'm standing at exactly 3 persuasion points. Okay, where are we? Yeah, I'm thinking Firm Grip is what I want to do. And Face Dancer. So that's good for me because, as it happens, if I use experimentation now, I can go to the Imperial Basin, collect one spice, move my research tracker up one, put an agent in the, put a specimen in the axolotl tank, and that'll get me a little bit closer to collecting that face dancer. And for my second turn, I could go to smuggling and do it again and get that face dancer at the end of the agent phase 2 in my reveal phase. So that's possible, but it would only, you know what I could do? As I think about it, let me see. And you know what? What am I even doing? I haven't revealed the first conflict card yet. Is that? Okay, that could be good, especially if I want to try to get that firm grip. Getting Solari? Good. Firm grip. Okay. And I could put my agents in. I can only put 2 agents in. And fighting House of Hagal early game in combat, it's fruitless. Never really works out. So I'm not going to put my agents in. Maybe 1. Maybe I might put 1 in and just cross my fingers. But is it worth putting in 2? I don't think so. But I'm wondering if it's worth it for me to use reconnaissance and go to, I don't know, Carthag. Because I will be able to put a second agent in no matter what. I just won't be able to move up that track. I gotta think through that. What do I want to do? Oh, goodness gracious. I'm actually sitting at 5 persuasion because I forgot to include my convincing argument card. Sorry. Okay, so at the end of this, I will have 3 persuasion by my reveal phase, and that is just not enough for that firm grip. And that is going to make it a little risky going into the next agent phase. Into the next round, because I will now be rolling dice to clear the Imperium row, and it's a possibility firm grip will be gone. That's going to be a little scary, but we'll see how it rolls out. This is a new way I'll be playing since getting into Dune. So let's see. I think I'm just going to maintain my strategy and roll with it, because the interstellar shipping track is not a bad way to go with this chum track over here. So to begin, I will keep my deck over here on the right hand side, and I will use experimentation, keeping it in my play area. I will put my agent on Imperial Basin. Hopefully that lights up okay. Probably not as good as it has been in the past, because I had a dimly lit room the other time I was showing these things off, but it should show a little bit. And with that, I will get 1 spice over here. Pop that there. Also, it's worth mentioning that with my character, having Solari is a good way to go. So moving up the track on the chum track is a good way for me to get some Solari in the early game. So that is a good strategy for me, and I think that's what I'm going to do. And let's move on to Prince Romber Vernius. What will he do? Harvest spice. Okay. He's harvesting spice, so there are no more bonus spices on any of these tracks, so we just got to reveal another card. Uh-oh, he's going to Still Suits. He goes here, he moves up 1 on the tracker. Good for him. Let's go to Count Ilban Ricis. Carthag. Okay. He takes Carthag. And what does he do? That is a combat space. Oh my goodness, you know what? Vernius went into combat too, so he puts in 2 troops. So Ricis he gets himself a troop into his garrison from his supply, and he gets to move, as the green team, his Twi'laksu tracker up 1. And he is in a combat space, so all 3 troops go in. So we got 4 and 6. See, I knew getting into combat early game would be a bad idea for me. I'm glad I didn't put in any troops. And what else? He's destroying my Face Dancer card. No! My whole specimen strategy is going out the window. Okay, well, let's just... Darn. That is going to go away. Slig Farmer. Let's see what this says. 1 Solari for each agent icon on the other grafted card. 5 Solari will get you to move on the Twi'laksu track. Interesting, but it's a graft card and it only takes you to green spaces, which for this game is really not wise. First of all, that clogs your deck, and green spaces are not very useful to me in a solo mode when you play as the Kwisatz Haderach. You can't have the Swordmaster. Mentat costs 5, High Council costs 5, and I suppose these spaces are okay if you choose to buy a tech icon. I tend not to utilize them when I'm playing solo. So that card will probably be a waste. What a disappointment. Oh yeah. I forgot to move my tracker on the research track. So I go up 1, I get to put an agent in the specimen, a specimen in the axolotl tank from when I used my first experimentation. Pardon me, I just was a little bit slow coming out of the gates. I'm a little bit rusty after a week on vacation, so I'll get into the groove soon and I won't be making those kinds of mistakes. Those are very costly mistakes. I cannot afford to make them going into the next agent phase. Okay, moving on to my turn. What will I do? Now that my strategy has been completely destroyed, my only hope now would be to I think what I could do is I could use reconnaissance and... Okay, now, no. I'm going to stay with my original strategy. I really shouldn't stray away from that. I'm going to use experimentation. Okay, I'm going to bring my agent over to smuggling. I'm going to collect 1 Solari, move myself up 1 space on the Chum track, and I will get to move this up 1 space. I need, goodness gracious, what will I do? I don't need that second specimen in there anymore, so it might be better if I go with the Twi'laksu track. Oh gosh, forgot to put 2 spice on the Twi'laksu track. Okay. Now, yeah, I think I could do that. And I think that's the better strategy right now because my original idea has been completely toasted. It's gone. So that's what I'll do. I'll move the downward path on the Twi'laksu track. Alrighty then. So with that being said, this is now Agent Phase 2. I should have done that. Pardon. And now with 2 persuasion points used up, I'm now sitting at 3 persuasion going into the reveal phase. So let's find out what Vernius is going to do. He cannot go to smuggling. I already took that space, so next card. Carthag is already used. He's taking a Dreadnought. Okay, great. So, he takes a Dreadnought, and for him, he gets to buy a tech icon if he can afford one, but he cannot at present time. So he gets to put a tech negotiator in the tech negotiation space. Good for him. Okay, great. Now it is Ilban Richis. He's harvesting spice, and as we know, that is not able to be utilized. He's taking Conspire. He goes there. He moves up 1 on the track. He collects 2 agents. It's not a combat space, so they just go to his garrison. And that's his turn. Now it's my reveal phase. I have a dagger, useless, convincing argument, and a reconnaissance sitting at 3 persuasion. Not enough to buy firm grip. And do I want the Arrakis liaison? No, I don't. That card is a waste for me at this time. It would be useless. So now the only question is high priority travel or spice smugglers. And honestly, those 2 cards just don't appeal to me. Better not to have them. So I will not be buying a single thing in the Imperium row. And it's time to move on to combat phase. My reveal phase is up. Combat phase. Sorry guys, I gotta get used to this tracker. I only started using this for the for doing live games, and since starting to use this, I have to kind of get used to it myself. This is just something I started doing last game, and I like how it looks on camera, and it helps keep track of everything. But yeah, I just have to get used to doing it, so I apologize that I didn't do that, but it will get better. All right, here we go. So, combat phase, green team takes the win. So what does that mean? They get 2 Solari. Count Ilban Richis gets 2 Solari, and he gets to move up 1 on the tracker. So we'll just go up 1 with the Fremen track. Why not, right? Or actually, I think the rules state you're supposed to always go for the victory point where you can get it. So he's just going to go there. Take that, get himself a victory point. And second place will collect 3 Solari. Vernius, good for you. 3 Solari for you. And I get nothing. Here we go. I've resolved the winnings, and now I've got to put spice out onto the board. 1 here. 1 here. Return combat to 0. Return troops to the supply. Flip the next conflict card. Ooh, that's a fun one. I always love going for that, at least in Dune Digital. And we move the persuasion back. We go to the second round. We go to agent phase 1 and bring the agents back to their respective home cards. Where is he? There he is. Okay, great. So let's see here. Vernius goes first this turn. He gets the token. Let's rock. He's going to Arrakeen. He gets to use his signet ring. And what do you know? His signet ring says he can buy a tech icon or put a negotiator in the tech negotiation space. He does not have any spice, so he cannot buy wind traps, even though it would be at a 1-point discount. So this agent will become a negotiator, and it goes into the tech negotiation space. And he gets 1 troop from his supply into his garrison, and he's in a combat space, so of course his dreadnought goes in, and 2 soldiers are in the combat zone, putting him at 3 to 7 points. The Count Ilban right, Chase, what are you? I haven't even drawn my next hand. I should do that. Goodness, I'm terrible. All my cards go to the discard pile. I'll get that in a second. We got to resolve what they're doing. What did Count Ilban Rachis do? Carthag. That's where he went, Carthag. And what does he get? He gets himself a troop in his garrison, and he puts all the troops he can, at present time, only 3, into combat. That's going to put him at 6 points in combat. All right, now it's time for me to draw my next hand. Aha! I forgot to do something. I'm going to have to add that. So last game, I had a resolve checklist I got to start utilizing. I'm going to have to rewrite this and include rolling the dice on Imperium Row. Luckily, it's the beginning of my turn now, so let's see how the dice roll affects the game. 5 and 2. There goes firm grip. Great. Okay, that's fine. It is what it is. Firm grip, you are gone. And 5. That's Shai Halud, gone. New cards arriving in the Imperium Row. Worm Riders for 6. And Guild Accord for 6. I don't know that card very well. It costs 2 spice less to send an agent to the Highliner board space with this card. That is awesome. And you can share a space with another agent with that card as well. If you, let's see here, discard a card and trash a card, you can get water. And if you have Alliance token with the Spacing Guild, you would get 3 spice along with that. So, okay, interesting. Getting Highliner is always good, especially at a discount of 2 spice. That is incredible. So the Guild Accord card is looking kind of good, but not going to lie, that is a difficult one to achieve at this point in the game. So I'm looking more at the Lisan Al-Gaib. Okay, so I have 1 Solari, and I have a Signet Ring. I need water, so what I might do is use my Signet Ring and use my Signet Ring. I was thinking of going back to the smuggling space, getting another Solari, moving on the Chom track for 8 Solari. I would get a total of 9 Solari this way. And then I could buy a High Council. Maybe then I would be able to afford the Guild Accord next round. There's some possibility of that, and especially since cards will be moving through the Imperium Row, having those 2 persuasion points could be useful. Or what I could do instead is use my Seek allies, go to Still Suits, then next turn Haga Bazin, getting myself 3 spice. I wouldn't have 4 spice, but what good would that do me without the Guild Accord? I would take that. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stick with that strategy, actually. I will just use my Signet Ring to go to smuggling, seek allies. Yeah, that's going to put me at 3 persuasion points at the end of my persuasion. I'm sorry, at the end of my reveal phase. So, yeah. Still nothing interesting for only 3 persuasion. Okay, gotta do it. This combat looks nuts, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not putting my troops in right now, that's for sure. Seek allies coming onto the board, moving on to the tracker, up 1 with the Fremen. This card is going to get trashed. It gets trashed as soon as it's used. It goes over here, and now it goes to Agent Phase 2, right there. Technically, right now I'm sitting at 4 persuasion, and by the end of this agent phase, I'll be at 3. Okay, so let's go to the Vernius, Prince Romber Vernius, taking interstellar shipping, and he does not have 2 influence with that track, so he's taking a Rakeen. That cannot work, he's already there. He's taking a Dreadnought, yet another Dreadnought, and guess what? Oh no. He has enough to get himself a tech icon for free. So that's happening. And if he wins conflict, he gets water. And right out of the gates, having this tech icon, he's going to get a water. He's at 2 water. If he collects 3 water, he will have a victory point. This is going to be tough. It's off to a rocky start. This is a hard one to beat. Let's see what I revealed. Hollow projectors. Okay. Tap the card. Discard a card, I believe, is what that is saying. And draw a card. So, let's see, yeah. Yeah. Don't know if I want that. I don't think it'll be of any use to me in all seriousness. Right, Dreadnought. Gotta get him a Dreadnought. Count Ilban Rechis. Here we go, Rechis. He's harvesting spice, so... He's taking the Great Flat. He will collect 4 spice. And he's in a combat space, so the last of his agent goes in. He goes to 8 combat. And it's now my turn. Signet Ring will allow me to go to smuggling, and I will spend my 1 Solari to buy a fold space as per my Signet Ring ability. It's also worth mentioning that, oh goodness, at the start, I should have remembered to do this. Again, this is the second time I've ever played with this character. Round start, set aside a card from your hand at the start of your second turn in a round. Reveal that card and return it to your hand. If you use it to send an agent this turn, you can, if it has exactly 1 agent icon, you get a spice. In this case, it would have been 3, otherwise 1 Solari. Now, I did not set this aside, so I will not be utilizing that ability. That is my punishment for not being thorough when reading my character card. That's my punishment, so I'll just have to eat it and lose out on my 1 Solari. Oh well, I'll just have to eat it. Learn my lesson, take my lumps. I'm going to set aside my Signet Ring. I'm going to send my agent to smuggling yet again. And I'm going to... Yeah, I'm going to move up again 1 space on this tracker because I'd like to utilize, if possible, the 2 troops and the influence track possibility there. just trying to get those victory points wherever I can get them, you know? So with that said, I gain a Solari for going there, and then I will be spending a Solari for a fold space. That just goes straight to my discard pile. Okay, wonderful. Now I'm sitting at 3 persuasion. I have convincing argument, a dagger, and diplomacy in my hand, and we're going now into the reveal phase. I'm not seeing anything I want in the Imperium row, so it's a crying shame. It is what it is. Alright, now we're going to go into the combat phase. And I can't believe I didn't do this before, but I forgot to reveal their combat cards last round. I don't know who would have won that combat now, but that has been resolved. It is what it is. Sorry, folks. It is now tied at 8. Selective breeding. He gets 2, so he gets a bump. That's the Count Bonvricis, takes first place. And where does he go with it? Let's bump him up 1 on the Fremen track and up 1 on the Bene Gesserit track. Vernius goes with a water, so that puts him at 3 water and 2 Solari. So now that he has 3 water, he gets himself a victory point. Here you go. 1 victory point for you. Okay, let's do this. Rolling the dice now. Getting that out of the way. 4 and 4, so Spice Smugglers is going away. Blank Slate, if grafted, this has the ability to travel anywhere on the board as if it's a fold space. Only when grafted. It's a very appealing card, especially at the cost of 1 persuasion. Unfortunately, it's just not able to be efficiently utilized in the Kwisatz Haderach strategy set. It just doesn't work. I don't want to have many cards in my deck if possible, so I won't be buying it. If I was playing with other people, maybe I would then, but not solo against House of Gaul at Kwisatz Haderach level. Okay, so the combat has been resolved. The winnings have been resolved. You gotta put Spice out. The Haga Basin is looking really good. I forgot to give myself 1 water when I went to Still Suit, so there that is. Glad I just caught on to that. Return combat to 0. Return troops to the supply. This dude goes here. Reveal the next conflict. We will be going into round 3, and they will be getting their sword masters. I'll shuffle my deck. That is hilarious. I literally just drew my starting hand. Experimentation, convincing argument, reconnaissance, and dagger. I started with this hand. I gotta work with it. Okay, well, now would be a good time to go to smuggling. No, Haga Basin, right away. I gotta get that spice now, before it's too late. It's not my turn, though, so we're gonna have to wait. It's the Count Ilban Richis's turn. He's going to conspire. He moves up on the tracker, gets himself 2 agents in his garrison, and there they are. Now it's my turn. I'm going to use experimentation, put that into the play area space, go to Haga Basin, using my water, collecting myself. I will be I'll be getting 4 spice from the Haga Basin. With the 1 I have, that's a total of 5. So I'll just exchange that for a 5 token right there. Now it goes to Vernius. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to be going into combat yet. Only because I fear the Dreadnought. Also, I don't think I'll be going into another combat space, so I won't be able to push more troops in. It just isn't appealing at this point. So he's taking Carthag. He's going to go here. And what does he do with that? He moves on the Twi'lek'su tracker right there and gets himself a troop in his garrison, and they go into combat like so. It's going to put him at 5 points. Goes back to the Count Ilban Richis, taking Highliner. Uh-oh. What a dude. Taking Highliner, getting himself 3 agents into his garrison. And it is a combat space, so all 3 of the troops he just got, plus 2 remaining in his garrison, that's going to put him at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 total points. Yikes. What a power play. I am so glad I did not get involved in this combat. Alright, so now we get into the second. That was the beginning of the second agent phase, so we are now into my second agent. And what do I want to do? Experimentation, going to smuggling. Gotta do that again. I forgot to move my tracker on the research track last turn, so I will do that now. Bump myself up here, get a troop into the axolotl tank, and move the Twi'lek'su tracker, which generates an intrigue card for me, which will be recall one of your agents. That will come in handy at some point, maybe not now, but definitely down the road, so I'm glad I got that. And also, Slig Farmer is available to purchase now at any given time. Don't think I am going to get that. I will probably think about getting Scientific Breakthrough, honestly, since I've been utilizing these experimentation cards so quickly. I think I can get down the research track by the end of this game and make use of that Scientific Breakthrough card. So I think that is what I'm going to do. So yes, I used experimentation again to go to smuggling, bring this all the way down, generate 2 additional troops into my garrison, take 9 Solari, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total Solari. I now have 10 Solari. And I get to move any one of these influence trackers, which I'm going to use the Fremen space to open up Siege Tabor. Get myself a victory point. Don't mind if I do, thank you very much. And that's going to resolve my reveal phase with 3 persuasion points, but for now, we're going to finish the second agent phase with Prince Vernius taking Arrakeen, trying to mix it up with some combat. He's also going to use his signet ring, but sadly, he has no spice. So he cannot do any of that stuff, so he's just going to put a tech negotiator in that area. Oh no. He's buying a lot of tech. He does generate a troop, and he does put it into combat, so that's going to move him up to 7. Is it enough? No. Agent Phase 3. Here we go. Count Ilban Arechis. Harvesting spice, but there is no bonus spice, so we reveal another card. He's taking secrets. Going here, and hey, what do you know? He got himself a victory point. Alright, now it goes to Vernius. Harvesting spice yet again cannot be utilized. Tech negotiation is, oh my gosh. He doesn't have enough yet to buy a, well, what do you know, actually? Nope, he doesn't have any spice. So he would get the discount, which would only be 1 spice to buy holo projectors, but he cannot buy that card anyway because it doesn't have the House of Gaul icon in the bottom right-hand corner. So he's just going to put yet another troop in the tech negotiation space. He has got 2 negotiators in there now. Good for you, Vernius. All right, Count Ilban Richis going into not Agent Phase 4, but my reveal phase. I reveal a dagger and 3 persuasion points. I will not be buying any cards out of the Imperium row, which just moves on to the combat phase. So, Count Ilban Richis, what do you reveal? Selective breeding. He moves up 2 spaces on the track. And now Vernius, he cancels himself out at 7 total combat points, meaning Count Ilban Richis takes the win. He gets a victory point, putting him at 3 victory points. All right, Vernius finally gets himself some spice, and what do you know, another water. Okay, let's roll some dice to find out how the next round is going to look in the Imperium row. A 4 and a 5, so say goodbye to Worm Riders and Blank Slate. Dissecting kit. If it's grafted, you can trash the other grafted card. Okay, that would be good. And you could generate a researcher. Sorry, not a researcher, a specimen for the axolotl tank. And if you have 1 of those yeah, and I forgot to move this up 1 when I used that second experimentation. Gosh, I gotta start doing that. And that will put me at 1 Solari. Oh my gosh, I gotta remember to do that. All right. The reason why I bring it up is because I used experimentation twice in the first round, and then twice again in the third round, which means I should have it right here, and that just bumps it up one more space. Now, though, it's worth mentioning that because I have that first genetic marker icon, for the rest of the game, I can put Twi'leksu cards I acquire on the top of my deck, which isn't super enticing for me, but it is a thing you can do. Always good. Occupation is obviously awesome. Would love to get that card. It's going to be hard to get, though, honestly, not going to lie. Would love to get it, though. Okay, so the winnings have been resolved. I got to put spice out for the next round. So what do you know? This gets a spice. This gets a spice. Returning combat to 0. Returning troops to to their proper supply. This goes back to his garrison. This goes here. These troops go back to his garrison. Let's get into the 4th round. Putting back the agent phase. 4th round. A victory point. This is the Siege of Haderach. And it is now time to bring back the agents. And I get to start the 4th round as the first player. I'm really going to hope that I get a High Council. I might try to take that as soon as I can. Wonderful. So I have my signet ring, a fold space, a convincing argument, and a dagger and diplomacy. And for my first turn, I'm thinking taking signet ring, buying a High Council space. Right now, my persuasion is at 4. So I'll move that right there. And then I'll buy another fold space card, which is pretty sweet, having those with me at any time. I'm just thinking I'm going to hold on to them because you never know when you're going to need them down the road, and I'm probably not going to have enough for occupation. Although, how many 2 persuasion cards do I have? Not very many. So going to Rakeen and hopefully drawing one isn't going to be very fruitful, very likely. But yeah, I mean, if I can manage to eke out 8 persuasion points in this reveal phase, it would be so awesome, especially getting occupation early game. How cool would that be? But it just doesn't seem very likely, so I'm not going to opt for that. However, yeah, let's just get this move underway and get going. I'm going to take my signet ring and take my agent and put it on the High Council so I can utilize that space. It's going to cost me 5 Solari and say bye-bye 5 Solari. Oh my goodness, it's the first round. Okay, since it's the first round, I can utilize my ability. What card am I going to set aside? I'm going to set aside Diplomacy. And yeah, I will utilize that card next round. But yeah, do I need more Solari or do I need... Oh no. You know what I could do? I could get more spice pretty quickly, which would give me enough for Highliner next turn, giving me more agents and 2 waters. Oh, goodness gracious. But then I wouldn't be able to buy the fold space until second round, and I wouldn't be able to utilize diplomacy. So what I could do is I could use diplomacy first in this first round, set aside a dagger going into the next round. I know House of Hagal doesn't use highliner. I'm sorry, not highliner, the High Council. So I would be getting a guaranteed spice out of this. And yeah, it doesn't matter if I do that second round, second agent phase or not. So yeah, let's do that actually. It's not the end of my agent phase yet, so I can probably just reverse that a bit. I'm going to put back the 5 Solari that I spent and also put back my token. Yeah, so let's do that. I'm going to try to utilize my character strategy, put aside a dagger for now, and I'll use Signet Ring on another space. But where will I go? Not a lot of appealing places to visit. Going to Carthag, I can get involved in combat. This dude doesn't have any combat right now. Getting the flag on Arrakeen would be nice for me. Getting that Solari if possible. I have some good troops. I can get a total of 10 combat points, and I feel like I have a good starting position, though it is still early. So if I go to a place like, say, Carthag, get myself an intrigue card, get another troop, pop them in there. But that would max me out at only 6 total points. So that would not be good for me, actually, unless I can go all in. So another idea would be to go to the Imperial Basin, giving Furnius another spice, but I would get 2 spice. Or I could go to smuggling again, get myself another Solari, which always comes in handy. The Solari isn't going to be of much use, except for if I get my research tracker to the very end, I would get to move up on the Twi'leksu track 2 spaces for the cost of 7 Solari, which can be pretty easily managed if I can do it. But will I do that? Is that a good idea? Oh boy. All this to utilize my dagger card to get 1 extra spice. So yeah, I think that is what I will do, actually, only because so many of these spaces are just not very appealing to me. I don't want to give spice to Vernius. That's just how it's going to be. I don't want to do it. So Signet Ring will, well, I could use diplomacy. What would I do with diplomacy? Let's think about that for a second. Let me think about diplomacy. What would I do with diplomacy? I could go to wealth and start moving that tracker. I could go to fold space, start using that tracker, which I plan on doing next round. I could get highliner soon, so I could get that victory point. So that would be a good idea. I could go to secrets, get myself an intrigue card. Oh boy. Of course, I could go to conspire, get myself 2 troops and 5 more Solari and an intrigue card. That's always interesting, but I want to save it for highliner. I'm going to need that down the road, plus the 2 water. So maybe diplomacy is a good way to go. I could get that fold space that I was already going to be spending a Solari for anyway if I use Signet Ring, and just get that out of the way. So that's actually not a bad idea. I could do that, and I think that is what I'm going to do. Using diplomacy in the first round, taking fold space, moving my tracker up 1, getting myself a fold space right now. Okay, great. Vernius, it's your turn. What do you want to do? He can't go to fold space. I just took fold space. Hardy Warriors. Womp womp. He gets himself 2 troops and they go into combat. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a tough one. I'll just set aside the dagger. I'll just set it right here for now. All his troops go in. He's standing at 7 total combat points. He gets a victory point right now. Good for him. Reachies, what do you want to do? He goes to Carthag, gets himself an agent. Sorry, not an agent, a soldier. Puts it into combat, putting him at a mere 2. And we go into the second agent phase now. It's my turn. I would like to use that dagger I had talked about so I can get that spice. It has 1 agent tracker on it, so I will utilize that. I'm going to go to High Council. I'm spending 5 Solari, and I will be putting my tracker there, which will bump me up. Let's see here. I'm sitting at present time at only 3, but plus 2, I have 5 persuasion points now. So maybe now occupation is an option down the road. Maybe next round, if I'm lucky, I can do it. Especially now that I'm drawing fold spaces, I can go to like Arakin and draw 2 cards. That will help me get some stuff. But I have to have good cards. What do I want to do? The dissecting kit, once again, what did we discuss about that card? What did I say? Trash the other grafted card. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to do that. Next round, I should have 2 influence, so high priority travel could be of some use, but it only lets you go to desert places like the triangles, the yellow or the green spaces, so that will not be of much use. Just to draw a card or get into combat. No, just not very appealing to me. Liaison, I keep saying liaison, it's Lisan al-Gaib, continues to be of little interest to me, even though there is some potential there, because if I have another Bene Gesserit card in play, I could move up the Fremen track, but I haven't seen a single one for sale in the Imperium row. It's just not going to be utilized very well. It just wouldn't be. So no, that's not going to be, it's just not going to cut it, you know? So once again, when my reveal phase comes along, I will not be buying anything. The Arrakis Liaison, just for 2 persuasion, is an interesting idea, but I could possibly draw 2 persuasion with the fold space by going to Arakin. I have a feeling I can do something like that, so I might do that instead. Okay, let's get on to Agent Phase 2. We're going to Vernius. Fold space is taken. He cannot go there. He's taking the research station. He moves 2 spaces on the Twi'leksu track and gets himself an intrigue card. If he gets himself 1 more intrigue card, he will have a victory point. Count Ilban Ricis goes to tech negotiation. He has enough spice to buy this tech icon for 4 spice. Oh, pardon. He gets a -1 spice discount, so 3 spice. He buys spice satellites, which means when he collects 3 spice, he is going to trash this card, this tech icon, for a free victory point. And if he still has this at the end game, it's worth 1 victory point for each faction where he has 1 or less influence. Wow. Okay. And let's reveal the next tech icon. Oh, on my reveal turn, if you have a seat on the High Council, I would get 4 combat points. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That needs to be taken. I need to get that for sure. Whoa. Big whoa. I've got to get that. Okay. Let's see what happens. My highliner strategy is not looking good now, but we'll see. Because that's going to cost me 3 spice. So we're going to have to think about what we want to do. But I got to get one of those. Well, it is what it is. Let's get into Agent Phase 3 right now. Vernius, what do you want to do? You're going to still suits. He moves up 1 on the tracker. And Count takes wealth. Moving up 1 on the tracker. He gets himself a victory point. Good for him. All right, I gotta shuffle these up. And in about the next 5 minutes, so probably right at the end of this round is a good time to put a stop to session 1 so I can play more tomorrow. Okay, combat phase. It's going to be Vernius first to see what his combat is going to be. So let's see, agent phases are allowed. Reveal phase for me. Let's see what we want to do. I already decided there's nothing I want to buy. So let's get into combat. Vernius gets himself 2 combat points, and the Count Ricis gets himself 2 as well. Okay, so resolving combat, that means that Vernius puts a flag on Arakim. And a victory point for him. 4 Solari goes to Ilban Ricis. He's 1 away from a victory point. Okay, wonderful. Let's take a look and see what card's going to get excommunicated. 4 and 2. That's a card I could use. Truth Sayer. Very cool. Okay, let's resolve the winnings, put out the spice. Everyone gets spice. I really wish I could keep playing. It's just I gotta get to bed at a decent hour. So, man. Oh well. We'll be starting round 5 tomorrow. And that's actually a good place to pick up. Round 5, a good halfway mark in the game, and things are cooking with gas. I'm right where you'd expect me to be this early in the game. It isn't until late game when you're playing at this level that you can start climbing the charts. If I can get my hand on the restricted ordnance tracker or the tech icon, that would be super rad because it would help me win so much combat. Let's flip this conflict card. Desert Power going into the 5th round, putting Agent Phase 1. Always starting the round at 2 Persuasion because now I have High Council. And it's time to bring the agents home. Actually, this goes back here, and that goes there. Agents go back to their supply. And, sorry, those are not agents, those are soldiers. I gotta remember the terminology. Okay, well, let's see. I'm going to predict the future. Oh my goodness, I just realized I'm so glad I didn't forget this. I'm so glad. Vernius got a water because he won the conflict. Good for you, Vernius. 1 water for you. Now you're 1 away from another victory point. Now, predicting the future, as I was saying, who do I think is going to win this game? I actually think Richis is going to win. He's in the lead right now, and he also has ways. He's going to get himself an intrigue card on the Twilaxu track still. He's going to get yet another victory point once he gets 3 more spice. And I don't know, I just feel like he's got things going for him, you know? He's been moving. Well, with that being said, I bid you adieu for tonight. Please join me tomorrow for session 2 of game 3, and we'll see what I can do. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for joining me for session 1. Bye for now, everyone.